I'm Lauren Leader. Welcome to Equal Value.
And I'm Daniela Pierre-Bravo. This week, we're taking a look at the rising tide of gun violence. According to the Washington Post, in just the first 5 months of 2021, more than 8,000 people were killed by gunfire in the U.S. Lauren, this puts the pace for this year to be one of the deadliest. If you look at it, about 54 lives lost per day in this year. That's about 14 more deaths per day on average from the previous 6 years.
They're just shocking numbers. And somehow we have come to just accept this level of gun violence as a normal part of daily life in the United States, which is just unbelievable. Luckily, we have an organization like Moms Demand Action, which is mobilizing millions of women around the country, millions of moms, not to accept the status quo on gun violence, but to fight back and to work to pass common sense gun legislation like background checks, disarming domestic abusers, which is also a huge part of the picture. We're so pleased to have with us today Shannon Watts, the founder of Moms Demand. Shannon, welcome.
Thank you.
You and I both know that there's something incredibly powerful about the civic and political power of women, in your case of moms. Can you talk a little bit about what it means to have these millions of moms mobilized to fight gun violence and why moms are so critical to this fight?
You know, I think that the gun lobby's worst nightmare was that women and mothers in this country would rise up against them. You know, we have been the secret sauce, women, in activism. If you go all the way back to Prohibition, when women were really first allowed to get off the sidelines and be activists, men were never really able to put that genie back in the bottle. And we've really been on the front line of activism, from child labor laws to suffrage to civil rights, all the way up to the water crisis in Flint, Michigan. And time and again, when women get involved, they force change. And I think it's for a lot of reasons, but in particular, because women care so much about their families and their communities, and they won't back down until their families and their communities are safe.
The Biden administration committed to taking executive action on this front. There's a report that San Jose will now require gun owners to compensate taxpayers for gun-related emergency responses. But are we making traction? What is it going to take here?
We are. You mentioned San Jose. Moms Demand Action and Students Demand Action volunteers were pivotal in making that happen with the mayor. We show up every single day in state houses, in boardrooms, in city councils, and school boards, and we do the hard work, the unglamorous heavy lifting of grassroots activism. It's like drips on a rock. It doesn't happen overnight. Much of the change in this country, because of the way the systems are set up, is incremental. And I know we're all waiting for this cathartic moment in Congress, which I promise you is coming. But in the meantime, it's important to remember that we have passed background checks in 21 states, red flag laws in 19. We've closed the Charleston loophole in 19 states. We've disarmed domestic abusers in 29 states. And hundreds of companies have changed their policies because our volunteers have put pressure on them to do the right thing to keep our families safe. So this is the work that needed to be done on the ground that would eventually point the right president and the right Congress in the right direction. And I believe we're at that point in this country.
Are you optimistic, Shannon? It sounds like you are. I mean, it's got to be hard to stay optimistic when the statistics are what they are, but it sounds like you feel like there's real progress being made in some meaningful ways.
Well, again, you have to remember that this is the way the system is set up. And if you look at other social issues in this country, it's taken years, if not decades, to make significant progress. We've only been doing this work now for about 8.5 years. I think what makes this issue so different is the tragedy of over 100 Americans being shot and killed every single day, over 230 more wounded. So really the clock is ticking every single minute, and time is of the essence to save American lives. And so we can't act fast enough at a federal level to change our gun laws, but it is happening. We are making significant progress. You know, if you look at the way the politicians vote on this issue, if you go all the way back to 2008, about a quarter of all Democrats in Congress had an A rating from the NRA. Today, none do. That is a seismic shift in American politics. And I know it is just a matter of time until Republicans, particularly in the Senate, listen to the American public. 90% support stronger gun laws. 89% of those people are Republicans. 87% of them are gun owners. So the only place that this is a polarizing issue in America right now is in the U.S. Senate.
Yeah, this is an issue that we'll certainly keep our eye on and continue reporting on. Shannon, thank you so much for being here.